Hello and welcome to Big Brother. We have Jamie, Joe, JP, myself. No Chrissy today. She's sick of the house guest, I think, or something like that. She's not feeling well, so
she's locked in that new basement they revealed.
Yeah. They didn't drag that out, did they?
Oh my God!
They dragged it out. They dragged it out so long, I forgot about it.
Yeah.
After
Didn't she announce there was other rooms like 6 months ago or something? And they finally got around to it. And then we had to wait like 17 commercial breaks to get to it.
Oh my God. They do have a lot of commercials, don't they?
Prime time.
Yeah, my God, though. I think it's worse than any show I've ever watched.
Hey, I'm okay with the commercial breaks as long as they don't have to do the commercials inside of the house. You know how sometimes you get those like Outback Steakhouse segments?
Oh my God!
As long as we can avoid those.
I actually prefer like the product placement commercials than actual commercials.
I wonder often with the feeds, like what sort of things I have to release, because I don't know how many conversations I've watched with like a Sprite bottle right here. It's just like that. JP is showing it. That's how it is. Product placement.
I'm just taking a sip from my cool, refreshing glass of Wegmans purified water. Yeah,
it's gonna be here. Anyway, we had another interesting week of Big Brother. I'll be honest. It wasn't my favorite week. I think because once Kaysar was up on the block, it was like, okay, if he doesn't win veto, he's gone. This is just like, it just was kind of like,
We had some good moments, though. I mean, there was some good. There was a lot of time this week that feeds were down. So there was some stuff that feed viewers didn't actually get to see. So that was kind of a new change.
Were they down? Were they down intentionally or just down?
Yes. They were sitting. What day was it, JP? Like 2 days ago? Maybe.
I think it was like Tuesday or Monday when you were blowing up my phone.
Yeah, so they were sitting out in the backyard, and the way that the stage is set up, people can get close enough to the wall occasionally to yell something, but usually security is pretty top notch. The last time it really had any success was years ago, and somebody paid buku dollars to attach like one of those message planes, where it has the flag behind it, and you can have like write something on it. And a fan had paid all this money to let the players know what was going on. So when they were outside, the plane flew over the backyard. That was the last time anything actually really happened that did anything in the game. But they were sitting outside, and I know it was Christmas, Memphis, Ian, I can't remember who else was out there, but somebody had a bullhorn and was probably on their balcony of their apartment across the river and yelled, "Cody and Nicole are playing everybody." And then they repeated it, and everyone was trying to pretend like they didn't hear it. It's really funny if you can find the clip of it on Twitter. It's so hilarious because they're all acting like they don't hear it, but they hear it.
Well, that's actually smart. That's actually smart to play it that way, even though I guess you all know that you heard it, but you don't want to say. You want to admit that you got information,
right? Ian was the only one that really did anything with it. So you'll see the edit that they did this week with Ian, which was really funny because like it was always a different house guest he was talking to, like clip after clip after clip, but he was always on that hammock, and it was like they all were sitting in front of their guru, like floating on the cloud. But he was having some conversations with Kaysar and stuff. We saw a little bit of that, but he had been putting the pieces together slowly throughout the week. And he had told Kaysar that he had been talking about it in his diary room sessions, but we weren't getting that, and they don't know that, but we weren't getting that. He was starting to put together that there was a core group, and And he kind of had an idea of who some of them were, but he wasn't too sure about Nicole. Like that, she really wasn't on his radar for that until this.
Right.
So.
Right.
Well, he kind of thought he was working with her, right?
Yes. But then he realizes, like, okay, so she has a final 2 with me, but she clearly has one with Cody, and maybe that's the one she's, that she's more loyal to. But Ian, in his fashion of loyalty, he doesn't want to necessarily go after Nicole. He kind of wants to set his sights more on Cody, but in order to get Cody, he feels like he kind of needs to get the people that are around Cody. It's that whole building up to the bad guy thing. So
yeah. Well, I think it's going to start picking up because eventually now they're going to have to start turning on each other.
They're going to have to start picking each other off. Yeah.
I mean, they got their easy targets at the ones okay, these are the ones we want to get. They probably had a game plan going in before they even walked in the house. Okay, these are the 4 or 5 people we're going to get rid of.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And there's definitely, they all say, oh, I love you outside of this house. And some of them really do. Some of them are really good friends outside. I know Danny and Nicole are good friends out of the house. But a lot of times that friendship out of the house is really overplayed for the story, the story edit of the show. But there's
Right.
definitely pre-game talk. And I think that, with any game like this, when you're bringing back all-stars or all winners, people that know each other, there's obviously going to be some pre-gaming, but there was some really serious pre-gaming, and it sucks because it's really the viewers that miss out because of it.
Well, it's hurt I would say it's probably hurt the first month.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because I always criticize Survivor when they but you see why they have to do it when they have like returning players, is that they mix it up, and I've obviously not watched a lot of Big Brother, but to me it's been pretty just straightforward. This is
Yeah, for me, last season I thought was a great season. This season just feels, I almost feel like, and it's very obvious that there was a lot of pre-gaming. And for me, now I'm not somebody that really is that loyal to the live feeds even, let alone, stalking all of these contestants on social media. I feel like there's a whole aspect of the game that I've just completely missed out on. I don't feel like I'm getting, even if I'm just watching what we just saw tonight and the other couple nights a week that the show is on, I almost feel like I'm just missing so much of the show because I'm not that involved in the show.
Right.
Ro in the chat says, I'm a new watcher and I feel like there has been no real drama or twist.
And with what Ro just said, all of that drama and twists are happening, 3 months ago on social media or on Twitter,
right?
On other people's Instagrams.
Rachel
it's
says,
the post-game drama. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that, but Rachel said there's been no gameplay because they're just following the leader, which I agree. Nobody wants to make that big, move because again,
I love Kaysar for calling him out on it tonight too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give Memphis more credit. At first I was like, but he threw his back out really bad this week. For 48 hours, he was laid up. They had medics come in, take a look at him. He thinks he threw it out because he just stepped weird during veto, but he's been doing some pretty hardcore workouts with Christmas. So that could have been it.
That's probably what it was.
And it's great because, he's always so murmur. He's so harumph all the time. So you really couldn't tell any difference in his personality. I think that's a key for him, though. Yes. Say it and it will show up. His harumphing just, works for him because, like, Kaysar knows him. He knows who he is. He's watched him play. He's going, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And all that Memphis has to do is go, nah. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And it's enough to just, do nothing.
With, I'm drawing a blank on her name. She got voted out last week. Janelle, she had no idea that Memphis was working.
Right.
And neither did Kaysar. It was like.
That was her big concern.
that's what's funny about it too, is everybody's more or less putting the pieces together, but the one piece that they're missing is that Memphis was the one who orchestrated this whole, just like Julie brought it up tonight.
Yep.
And he's really laying low, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
He's not going out there ruffling feathers. He's just kind of just.
No, not at all. And it's great because if you kind of go down the line of who is everybody talking about targeting the most, and it's a little bit difficult when you watch the live feeds until you do get the CBS, because then you get the diary rooms, because you'll see somebody saying, oh yeah, and agreeing with somebody, but you don't really know where they stand until you hear directly from them.
Right.
There's Kevin talks to the cameras a little bit, so that does kind of cue you in. Remember Cliff did a bit. Dan Giesling always talked to the cameras to kind of let the viewer know where he was. But there's a lot of names. Like the entire core group is just tossing out each other's name, and then occasionally they're filling in, Davon or Bailey. But Memphis is brought up very, very little. The only time he's really brought up this week to any real show is that there's a lot of people in the core trying to get Day and Bay to tell everyone else that they're going after Memphis. But in reality, they have their own game that they're kind of playing, and they're sort of looking at Nicole and Christmas. But that's the only time Memphis is really being brought up.
Yeah, you were talking about drama, and I don't know if you're talking about Janelle, who she was talking about Nicole's wedding, and she mentions about it costing $3,000.
Yeah.
So she can have her reception and rooms.
The barnyard reception.
So I was like, ouch. I'm glad I'm not going.
With where the bride and groom's dance will be Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, growing up in Minnesota, like a mere 40 miles away from where she's from, Cotton Eye Joe really is a popular wedding song. I don't know why, but it is. It's like at every single one. She's really not being snarky. I think she's being truly honest. It's just a thing.
Yeah, I saw that. I went, huh. I go, that would have been nice to have still in the house. Because I always
I love when they get to put in requests to production of what their wake up song's going to be, because when they get woke up in the morning or whatever, before they turn they'll have feeds off for a little while, but before they put the feeds back on, they get to request a song. And so sometimes it's pretty funny, like, because the song will get into their head. So throughout the day, they'll be like singing it, and you'll know what the song was that morning. And then production will yell at them to stop singing it because they don't want to pay royalties.
Yeah, I have the freeze dance song in my head because my granddaughter is obsessed with it. So everybody dance. I just, when I say freeze, you freeze, and I say dance, you dance, and skip. And I'm like, oh my God. And she goes, Again. No, please, no.
Also a popular wedding song.
Is that a popular wedding song?
Popular wedding any song that gets a bunch of drunk farmers out onto the dance floor.
Now you're talking my kind of wedding.
There you go. Whatever it takes.
Drunk farmers.
Classic New Jersey wedding right there. Drunk farmers.
Anyway, I did want to say something because Enzo, who's probably got the best personality. Well, Enzo and Devon, every time I see acting coach, I go, really? You're an acting coach? Because she's very dramatic in her. Mm-hmm. But Enzo, he said Kaysar and Ian and some other people have never talked game with him. It's a month. How and you're in this house with people you can't leave. How do you
especially when the backyard's getting locked down for 4 days in a row? Right.
So how do you, and these are I could see David not doing it because David's kind of,
he's playing sticking to himself.
But if you should, even Survivor, I'm always shocked when people say they never talk to that person about gameplay, even if you're just faking it.
Yeah.
Because
to be honest, though,
never talked to me either.
There's been a lot of times and Enzo's done this before too. There's been a lot of times where someone will start chatting him up that's not in his alliance. and I don't think he does it to be mean, but they'll start kind of going, oh, so where's your head at? And he'll be like, I don't want to talk game. I don't want to talk game. He just wants to be that, but that's a big part of his game, is just being everybody's friend. And if he doesn't have to talk game to them, they don't know where he stands.
I think
that's stupid though. I mean, is that?
I agree. I don't think it's great, but it apparently works fairly well for him. But this is the first time in both seasons he's been in that we've actually got to see how he would handle an HOH directly. Like, does he open the door and say, everybody come in and talk to me, where is your head at? I think sometimes they don't talk game to me people probably have very little, but it's never been you got to have a reason to put somebody up, you know, and especially when it's clear that Kaysar's a popular player and he's well liked. And I mean, even if it was something as like, I don't like the guy, for some reason you don't like the guy. If he's a loved player, unless you really crave to be that villain, you're not going to be, I don't like him, and that's why I put him up. There's got to be something.
Right.
And I think with like Enzo, his HOH this week was just very, very ABC. I mean, this whole first month of the show has been very, there's been no blood, there's been no twists. It's just this one core group that's pretty much dominating the house. I want to say it's almost like it feels like it's almost going to be another 2 or 3 weeks before you're going to start to see backstabbing and expect the unexpected.
Right.
I mean, except for 2 weeks in a row where we had those 2 rogue votes that really didn't amount to much.
No, they didn't really do anything.
Well, it made David look stupid.
Right.
Well, David said this week that he had an IQ of 187. So
I believe it.
Stupid.
He's not stupid, but he doesn't play.
He's like, I have an IQ of 187, and they're like, okay, all right, not when it comes to this game.
No, his IQ for Big Brother is like 50. I mean, it's just like when you walk in there, they're asking him. I'll just say, no, it wasn't me. He's like and he doesn't say anything. I'm not going. Say something, David.
Do something. Get involved, man.
You're not guilty. Say it. I go, because I would have walked out there going, because even Kevin was laughing at him. I said I would have. He must have been the one to do it. Anyway,
I don't get it either. I don't. If somebody asks, "Did you throw that vote?" No. Don't even think about it. No. Who did that? Did you do it? I mean, always turn it around. I mean, it doesn't take thinking.
Danny was doing it, and she did throw the vote.
Well, now that's kind of her gameplay is starting to get really spotty.
Yeah, I liked how they were finally calling her out on it tonight.
Yeah, it was. Man, but it's funny because then you turn around and the edit that Tyler got this week, it isn't too far off. I mean, it's a little bit more cleaned up because of the lack of feeds. There was definitely stuff going on that we didn't get to see, but it was really confusing because it was a lot of he said, she said, back and forth. But for the most part, for what we got, Tyler's game is like the really clean version of Danielle's. Like Danny's, I see what Danny's trying to do. But it's disappointing because she's smart and she is a game player, but she's in over her head. She just took on too much. And Tyler's doing the same thing she's doing, but he's doing it like so smooth. But he's also able to get people like Christmas to do and say whatever he needs to do, have her do or say in order to get the information come back to him. Right. And he can spot who's got a big mouth and who doesn't. And the thing is with Christmas, she's loyal, but he's kind of making her believe the BS that he's coming up with to feed other people to get the information. He's kind of making her believe it first. So because she can't lie very well. And and it's working out so well for him. So right now, I think he and Enzo are sitting in a really, really great position. And they didn't bring Cody in much on this episode, but Cody's really feeling ousted and has been desperately trying to kind of work himself back in with Tyler and Enzo, and they're talking about it. They know he's trying. Enzo wants to bring him back in eventually, but he's like, right now we got to keep Cody over here. So there's a lot of dynamics that's going on, and I know they had to create some sort of edit to hide that somebody was yelling over the wall and changing the game up.
So that's what's hurt Cody, is that when the person said that Nicole and Cody were working together, that hurt Cody's game.
Yeah, I think it didn't help it. I think he was already kind of fading from the group just a tiny bit, just falling down a peg or two. But when that came out, there's not been a lot of conversation between Tyler and Enzo about it, but enough to know that we maybe we need to keep him over here a little bit. And they're really setting their sights on the girls right now until they do anything about Cody.
Well, even if they were to keep Cody over here for now, it's still their little group is such in a position to just keep dominating that even when they get rid of everybody else that they want to get rid of, that's when they can focus on now. Okay, now we'll set our sights on Danny.
Right.
Now maybe we'll stab Memphis in the back.
Right. And then that's when they're going to start tossing their own. I feel like
that's when they're going to start cutting the arms off the octopus as he
the octopus.
Yeah. Was that a pun, stabbing Memphis in the back? Was that kind of an inside joke?
Oh, poor bad back. I mean, I feel for him, man. I have really bad back problems. So watching him the past couple of days, I'm just like, oh God, I can't even watch. My spine is just aching. Yeah,
there's nothing worse, than back pain, because you can't do anything.
Can't do anything. There's nothing you can do about it. Yep. Yeah, so, sleep on your 6-year-old's rock hard mattress and hope it feels better in the morning. That's it. That's all you got.
But yeah, so what was I going to say? I should have left that alone. I just screwed myself up. So yeah.
Well, here's kind of Tyler's. If you wanted to see just a real quick synopsis on Tyler's where he's at right now, he's getting Christmas to kind of work in as a double agent, and Tyler's kind of trying to form a new core off to the side to keep himself safe in both arenas. And right now it is he's planting the seeds to get Day and Bay and Enzo to go after Nicole and Danny. And then he wants Christmas Nicole and Danny to go after Day and Bay. And he's just sitting back. So he's kind of creating two different side alliances that he's planting seeds that they need to go after the other one.
That could backfire, though.
It did for him last time.
Yeah, because I thought that was his problem, because I've never seen him play, but he said that was his issue he had last time.
But I think maybe he feels like if he does it now and gets some of the people who might have sour grapes about it out before jury, he'd be okay.
Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because, if somebody like Cody went in, Cody's like, you're my friend, you're my best friend. He's not going to be, I'm not going to give you the vote, because I'm mad at what you did. He's going to respect it. Memphis will respect gameplay. He's not going to be a bitter jury. Somebody like Davon, she's really into the game, but she could be a swing vote on that. Danny getting into jury, she would convince everybody to do whatever she wants them to do. So there's some people to get out, not because they're a threat while they're in the house, but because they're a threat to his game if they're in jury.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because that's what got him in the end last time. Everything else worked out great, but because the jury was mad at him, he didn't win.
Yeah, I want to say also, even with an all-star season like this, with all the pre-gaming, it's almost like you want to focus on keeping around the people who outside of the house are your best buddies, just for that vote in jury.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wonder if, if me and my best friend were on the show, if he was the one that was responsible for getting me out of the game, if that would impact my, I'd probably have to say I'd still vote for him, to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, would you vote for him because he's your best friend, or would you vote for him because he played the best game?
I don't know. I mean, I almost feel compelled that I would still have to vote for him depending on where that friendship is. Where, if I didn't vote for somebody who is my best friend for 4 or 5 years, does that dampen my relationship with that person when the game is over? I don't know. I guess I probably would have to.
I mean, there's $500,000 involved, so that's a lot of money. So, because I've always said, I don't care if you're my best friend or what. If I'm playing a game and you're on the opposite side, I'm going to try and beat you.
Right.
But it does come, okay, would I be upset? Okay, if you didn't vote for me and I lost by 1 vote.
Right. Yeah. That'd sting. That'd sting really bad. But if you have somebody like Cody, I mean, oh man, it's hard to say because Cody could have won his season too.
Right.
He could have, but he chose loyalty to his friendship over winning the money. I mean,
right.
Going up against who he had to go, like he had the person who ran the entire season or the person that did absolutely nothing. It was a shoo-in. He was a shoo-in to get that money, but he chose friendship first. Would he do it again? I don't think he would do it. I don't think he would do that with Tyler or Enzo. Well, I don't think it would happen.
I wouldn't choose if I couldn't beat the person. Say my best friend and me were. If I couldn't beat that person, there's no way I bring them. I don't bring them because what was the point of me coming in here for 100 days? Staying away from my family, having no outside news. And you forget about that because we had. Was it Memphis and was it Kaysar giving their morning chat show or morning?
Those have been really fun. I'm going to miss that. Those were fun. They did some this afternoon while everyone was getting dressed up for the show.
Yeah. And then you forget that they're not getting any outside news.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it now in the world of 24-hour news and social media.
Right. But it's like, as insane as it is, it's really predictable. Something dumb's gonna happen 2020. You could say anything and it would be like, yeah, it's pretty close to reality. You nearly pegged it.
I was just gonna say, but even in the last week, there's been some big events, with Chadwick Bowman passing away. I mean, that's a shock. If I was taken out of the world and found out about that, 30 days later. Oh my God! What? That's a punch in the gut.
There was a hurricane.
A hurricane.
Yep.
I mean,
but see, if there's something that is directly life-threatening to their friends or family, or something like huge, like 9/11, they will. The producers will talk to them. They did when COVID first started. The outbreak first started in Germany. The Germany Big Brother. The producers basically built a barrier in the house so that one of the producers could come into the house and sit down and explained to all of these house guests that there's a pandemic that is happening outside of these doors. And that's why we have this barrier up, because it kills people. And that kind of thing would just...
Did someone say, please don't vote me out now? Just
right. I always think that is they're opening up that mask. I'm like,
there's actually
I got to go back out there and do it.
Yeah, they're doing
killing somebody. You're not just evicting them. You're
sending them out there, sending them to the wolves.
Jeez.
But they're getting their COVID tests. I know Bailey really doesn't look forward to it. That's how I always know when they have a COVID test, because she's like stressing out about it. She hates them.
Why can't they come up with it? Because I had the test, and I guess it wasn't. I had the revamped one because they were setting me up for this thing being because I had all kinds of tests. And when I was in the hospital about 2 months ago, it was like all these different tests, and some of them were like the worst tests I could ever have. But the way they were describing the COVID test, I'm like, if they're going to do what? What is it? I go, and the guy's like, yeah, it's just real quick, and it's very. But even then, it's like this, and the guy says, "Stop clenching your nose." I go, "Clenching my nose?" I go, "How much do you need? Can't they just like draw blood or something like that?" But,
I was reading something about the enormous list of people that are finding out that they have a deviated septum. I didn't know until they have to go do that test because they have to like curve around it to get up to their brain cavity.
Yeah, it's
I did one about a month ago, and I went to it was like a drive-through, and I had to self-administer it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they
man.
Guy said, keep going, stop.
Yeah, they got to go through that every few days, and I don't know if they do it themselves or not. I guess I haven't caught if they are getting the test done to them or testing themselves.
Honestly, I didn't think it was that bad because, as a kid, all that practice with this finger, it just paid off.
Get right up there. Get the good stuff.
We used to have a torture test. You get a long blade of grass when we were kids. And you pin the guy down, you stick the grass all the way in, and you twirl it. Oh my God. And everyone, it was like an initiation. To be, if you didn't do it, you were ostracized. You were kicked out of the group. It's like, okay, all right, go ahead, do it.
Tough.
Can't we just break my arm?
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the game of Big Brother. Ro had a question. When do they go to jury?
I don't remember which week it is exactly, but we're about a quarter of the way through, and it's usually about halfway through that jury starts. Get some overalls, JP.
Rachel says JP is a gold miner.
I am.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Well, and that's with the jury. That's one of the things too. I really bummed they did not show this whole conversation with Ian and Kaysar. But also, can we just say this is why we love Ian, because this is why he's easy to love. You see him scheming, you go, okay, he's got his finger on the pulse, and then you see him be genuinely like sad that this person that he's become friends with, he has to vote out. He's such a person. He's just, he's such a. But they've had some great conversations. He and Kaysar have, and they've definitely become buddies over the last week. But they were talking about that whole, we got to blow up the house. We got to let everybody know what's going on. We've got to turn everything. And yeah, I can't believe Ian blew it so bad tonight because this was his competition to win. And I mean, it makes me so mad that and I'm sure he's just fuming himself. But yeah, Kaysar is saying that from a production standpoint, this season has just got to be an awful snooze fest. And they're pretty sure that, they pretty much nailed it, their entire conversation. But Ian was like, oh, if I win HOH, I'm just like, we're just going to flip the house and they're not going to see it coming from me. He was so pumped. He was like, whoa, first one out.
Well, I liked it when he was talking to Kaysar about blowing things up. He didn't sugarcoat it. He goes, look, you know you're going home. You're being evicted.
Right.
I mean, he goes, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing you can do. And Kaysar said, so I like that he came at him, he didn't try to,
right.
Oh, there's a chance if you do this. If you no, he goes, either way, you're gone.
Yeah. So I mean,
I did like that.
Ian's really, his game is, to me, it's just his game always just shows his character as a person so well, because he'll scheme where he has to, but it's so low key. He never goes mean. Most of the lying that he does is just nodding and agreeing with somebody when they want him to agree with them.
Right.
Yeah, he's like a silent strategist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Strategery.
Strategery.
Right. He's a harumper. So
I think obviously I didn't see the season he played, but I can see why he won.
Right.
Oh, he was extremely likable, and he wasn't. For anybody, when the season that he won, when Julie was reading the votes, you could see the jury members behind Julie, and you could see once they realized mathematically that that Ian was going to win, even before she got through the rest of the votes. You could just see their excitement. Once I think it was Jeff and Jordan. You could see Jeff just fist pump or something.
Right.
That's
when he won that final,
yeah.
When he won that final comp, he had to win to get into,
Yes.
that long maze with the wood block that they had to get through. When I was off the couch, like I was off the couch and I was like yelling, and so I was so excited because he is just such a. It always shocks me when I'm on Twitter and someone's all like, "Ew, Ian." I'm like, "Who are you?
Yeah.
What kind of person are you to not like this kid?"
Yeah, how do you hate Ian?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, even like Evil Dick, he's great at sharing his opinion. I mean, like his on his Twitter, he's like, "I'm not nice. Don't expect me to be."
Right.
He doesn't kiss anybody's butt. And he'll say, "I love the kid." At the beginning of this, he's like, "I love the kid, but he's not playing a good game yet." And he'll call out Danny. I don't like how, and Danny's his daughter. I don't like how, how Danny's doing this. And he says mean things about people. He's kind of like a BB bully. However, it's really weird because he is very, very sharp-witted. But he definitely stands on the right side of history a lot, if any of that makes sense. But
Yeah.
he always roots for Ian, even when he's not playing a good, because everybody likes him. He's just an honest, good kid. Even with gray hair, I feel like the dude's going to be 80 years old and people will still call him a kid, but he's a good guy.
With him not playing a good game, I think what we had that, we've talked about it before, at the beginning of the show. It's that pre-game strategy everybody had. So it's like it has affected everybody's game, and everyone, like we've seen, nobody will make that move. Nobody will do that. I can backslide. So what would they call it? Backslide. When they bring another if someone gets vetoed and they put another person.
Oh, like backdoor them.
Backdoor them. Yeah. So they keep saying, because Ian's name always comes up. So anyway.
But they always say they have to backdoor him because on his season he was, what did he have? 5 or 6 in a running streak that he was just, he was just nailing. They put him up, he'd get up. Put him up, he'd get. I mean, every time he'd win. And now they're like, well, now we have to backdoor him. We can't put him up there because he will get veto.
I was a little disappointed because the HOH competition that we saw tonight, that was more of a competition that I would expect an Ian to win.
Yeah.
I thought for sure, I go, well, Ian wins this one.
I thought
he was out right away.
Once they explained what it was.
Jay was doing great until the last one, the one that mattered.
Once they showed, because this is a variation of a competition that they tend to do pretty much every season. I thought this was going to be like an Ian win. I thought this was going to maybe be a Kevin or a David win. I mean, now granted, Christmas won by pretty much doing nothing. I wanted to, and I can't because it's not on. Christmas just won by standing there. Yeah.
Hey, she got really close in her last season doing just that.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, Christmas. She almost won with a broken foot.
She has a decent social game. One, she can be easily manipulated for the higher players to. She just got to get it. They just got to get in good with her, and she'll, because she wants to stay loyal. But she's a likable person. I mean, She doesn't cause a lot of grief, and she's nice.
Did Christmas in the HOH when it was Devon and Christmas? Did Devon beat Christmas to buzzing in with the wrong answer, or did Christmas not even make a motion?
She didn't even do anything.
She didn't do anything.
Okay.
She kind of looked like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was man, they could have. I would have loved to see a Dave on HOH too. That would have been.
I was hoping for that because that would have at least changed a little bit of the house.
Because Christmas is going to stay probably true to what the plan's been all along. So.
Yeah.
Right. She's not going to ruffle. She's not going to change the game.
It's going to be, to jump ahead to our predictions. This is going to be I think she'll put up like David, and she'll put up Ian or Kevin?
I think that she's going to go. This is my thought. I think she's going to go after Bailey and Davon.
Or,
possibly backdoor Ian. That's the way
I can see that.
If one of them gets themselves down, Ian's going up.
It's, and even with this week, I mean, this was finally the first week where the veto came into play.
Yeah, it is. It is because the core didn't win it.
Exactly. Here we are waiting 5 weeks for something to finally happen, and that was like, it's just a little touch of what Big Brother does, but it was,
I know, it's so disappointing. I was like getting so pumped over the last couple of days for this HOH because I saw that players were really starting to go, okay, we are going to have to start cutting ties with Danny. Right. Ian's like, okay, I'm figuring out who's doing what. Kaysar's like, I'll blow it up before I leave. It's like, okay, now we're getting gameplay. And then just like that, who wins HOH? The boring crew. We're just going to do everything. Oh, wait. And they have a new alliance this week. So now we have another alliance added to the list. So we have Triple Threat. Triple Threat is the new alliance of just Tyler, Enzo, and Cody. Tyler wants Triple Threat to be spelled with a 3 instead of an E. So
that's exciting.
Rachel says in the chat, hopefully the basement thing will shake things up.
Yeah, it's the same game they always play. Find the stuff in the dark.
Yeah.
Get this thing, and then you're going to get a power. Depending on what that power is, it could. There's just been so many times in the new school version of the show where there's these powers that don't lead to anything. I was hoping that the basement, like they would throw Kaysar down in the basement. You'd be like the ghoul in the basement, that starts problems in the house. Like that'd be amazing. It'd be so fun. I'm like, shove someone down there in this basement, give them 1 5-minute time a day that they can watch the live feeds. They can pick what time it is, and then give them 1 minute to pick at the end of the week to pick one player to give them a 1-minute message based off of what they saw. That's way cooler than a power because it's all in, how do you perceive what you're watching?
Information is power too.
Exactly. It's just more exciting than, you can take this one person's vote who was going to vote with you anyway,
Yeah. I do see what Rachel said in the chat there about Julie freaking out Kaysar.
Yeah. I don't want to go back in.
Psych.
America voted.
But I wanted to talk about.
Man, if he would have had to go back in, that would have been interesting.
It would have been funny though. But
yeah,
what he'd have to have some kind of power because he'd just be voted off the next week.
Well, and as soon as he left, as soon as he went on stage, I knew there was no chance he was going to, just with COVID, there can't be a buyback if they bring him out on stage and they interact with anybody else.
Right. That's true. Yeah. Good point. I did want to talk about how Enzo won HOH because we didn't talk about it. And I kept saying, remember, you should be bouncing the ball off the thing. And how I don't want to say pat myself on the back, but that's how they were getting. I go because
with math.
Yeah, you had Christmas. Got 2 balls in before anyone, and she couldn't because she kept trying to roll it. I go, she was having to be perfect. And I said, all you do is have to get the angle. It's like pull or anything like that. When you just have to get the angle. Okay, boom, that's where it is. Okay, boom. I just have to hit that mark right there, and I'm good.
That's why I had to message you guys right away and be like, okay, I was wrong. Enzo's not playing the same game. He's winning stuff. I wasn't expecting that. But hey, he's been kind of fun to, I don't like that he's keeps bringing up Ian's name, but
well,
he's pretty fun to watch this year.
I think he knows he can't beat Ian.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it is at all like any sort of personal thing at all.
No.
This kid's going to kill me if I don't get him out of here.
Yeah, and he goes, he wants to win. He's trying to build a resume.
Right.
He's smart, and he again, I wouldn't want to go to the finals with Ian.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't either.
It's unfortunate though with everybody's gameplay so far. there's like really nobody has done anything that makes you say, you deserve 5. I mean, except for maybe Kevin winning his own veto.
Yeah.
It's been the biggest move is Kevin taking himself off the block.
Yeah. He was emotional. I mean, when he was going to David, he was kind of begging David to just throw it for him. And David's like going, actually was the smartest thing David said. I just got to play for me. I have to show that I can play this game.
Do something in this game. Yeah, it was the first time he actually was thinking like someone playing a game for $500,000.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Kaysar because I thought he made a huge, and he first he dropped the rope, then he's trying to grab it again, and then he falls. He was first one out, wasn't he?
Yep.
And he had to win it.
Yeah, and he also for the HOH competition, he was very, very close to winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't. I think he was the second person to get 2 balls in there, and he just couldn't get that third ball in there. I'm like going, and then Enzo just kind of threw it and started running to the other side, and it went in.
Yeah.
And what a different game we'd have right now had he won that.
Of course.
Because he probably puts up Cody and Nicole, probably.
Yeah, well, probably would have started with maybe Cody and Tyler or something like that. Probably Enzo.
Yeah.
But then Nicole might have found her way up after the wall yelling situation.
Why am I being put up? It's not fair.
Oh my gosh, yeah, her and her. Oh my god.
Well, hey, I'm still trying to get invited to the wedding, so
you better be saving up some cash.
I'm counting my pennies.
If you can make money on your wedding, more power to you.
So did you like the goodbye or not goodbye messages, but their last plea to be saved? Did you like Christmas's rhyming? The whole time I just thought about Christy and I was like, oh, I know she's hating this as much as I am.
Well,
it's the worst. Don't rhyme. It's the worst.
She obviously knew that she wasn't going home.
But I mean, I get it. You're bored. There's not a lot to do. But I mean, don't sit there and practice a rhyming speech. It's weird. It's awkward. Unless I was like, it was my number one, like, ride or die, I would vote you out just for rhyming and your goodbye. Like, nope, that's it. I have no tolerance for such things.
I'll give her a B for trying. I thought it was a good effort. Because again, what is she going to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like she knew.
I really appreciate y'all just keeping me here, which you plan on doing anyway. And I really just felt like getting dressed up. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
So if me and you were playing Big Brother and it's me on the block with Dr. Seuss, I'm a shoo-in.
I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. No, I like Christmas. She's one of my favorite players. I know that she's probably not going to win.
Isn't she from Raleigh?
Is she?
I think she is. I'm pretty sure she's from Raleigh.
Is she?
Let me Google.
Google this. Google this business.
Let me Google it and see where Christmas came from.
Well, if she is, I better say nice things about her because if I ever met her on the street, she'd beat me up. I mean, there's nothing I could.
The whole time I'm taking notes, I started out with writing Christmas. But by like day 4, I started writing Xmas. And I just kept thinking about how mad my stepmom would be at me for shortening it.
Oh, you kids, yeah.
But I'm like, my son, every time he walks through the room and they say Christmas, he's like, oh.
Well, one of the things that production does for Christmas is whenever they cut to her, they always do the jingle ball.
I love the jingle.
They started that on her first season. I love it.
Oh, that's okay, but rhyming's not.
No, the jingle's totally okay. Last time she was on, she had another sound effect, which was the squeaky wheel. Remember? Because she had that broken foot, so she had that that wheelie thing.
Push thing that she was pushing. I know. I'm anti-cowbell. I know we got to have more cowbell, but I'm coaching hockey, and these parents would bring a cowbell, and I tell the parents afterwards, I go, look, I know you're into this cowbell thing, but I go, if you keep ringing the cowbell, I will throw the game.
It's done.
I will put 5 kids out there I know that can't score, so I don't have to hear that bell. And they go, really? I go, yes. I go, it's annoying. I go, everybody hates you for it. The players hate it. I go, no, nobody needs more cowbell. I go, it's because
maybe
it is
maybe at Nicole's wedding.
Yeah, there you go. It's one thing to cheer, but when you're ringing a cowbell, it just pisses the other team off. So don't do it.
Yeah, it's like yelling in their face. It's very loud and obnoxious.
No, if you got the team down, just beat them gracefully, and that's it. But anyway, no cowbell. Anything else? Anything else happened? Kaysar, we said, we knew he was going home. Did they have final speeches for him?
No, I will probably see him if you go on to CBS. Occasionally, they gave him that moment to kind of talk about the outside world and.
Okay, that's true. I was getting frustrated because my CBS feed, I have the all access, and like clockwork, the commercials, there's never an issue. I get the 35 minutes of commercials, but sometimes during the feed, it freezes. I go,
same with me actually.
And I have to go back in. I go, and you miss like a minute trying to. I go, why is it the commercials never freeze?
They're always louder.
I had 2 or 3 commercials freezing this year.
Well, the commercials are louder on purpose because they want you to hear what they're saying. Yeah, all you're doing is irritating me.
Yeah, it's the cowbell.
Hello, from State Farm.
But it does it fun when I watch Survivor too. I go, oh, come on, it's like, and the person
it makes it hard to count. Like when you're watching it live, you can kind of tell by your commercial breaks how it's going to go in the end.
Right.
How long are we going to be sitting here? How long is this conversation going to go before Jeff tells everybody to vote? You could figure that out by your commercials, but not when you do it through something that's freezing and restarting, and because you get that same block no matter what.
Right.
The problem that we've been having with watching it live is that it didn't do it tonight though. Is that our local station freezes for about 30 seconds in the middle of voting, when they go away for a commercial and then they come back and finish voting. And so it turns back on about the time someone's walking into the diary room to cast their vote. And every time I'm like, oh, it's so mad. It's the same station that took the last 4 seconds of Lost and started the local news. I wrote them a thank you letter.
I don't. That would be frustrating.
Yeah, it gets. So I worry every time that it's going to happen again.
If there was only some rewatch you could watch to learn those last 4 minutes.
Probably a good thing that I've rewatched it like 9 times to see that 4-second pan of an eyeball, because I would have been so lost. I would have never known.
If you could only find something to rewatch, that would be crazy.
It'd be pretty nuts.
Nice.
It'd be nuts.
Yeah. I love this. We'll get off topic here, but you were talking about how news stations and they screw you over. When I was a kid, my dad, the Indianapolis 500 they'd have it during the day, but they wouldn't show it till at night. They'd show it on ABC at night, tape delay. Well, I had found out who had won. So my dad and I are sitting in the kitchen where we had that old black and white TV. We're watching it like this, and I'm keeping quiet the whole time. And the news comes. They have a news break on with 17 laps to go, and there's a beach in San Diego called Black's Beach. It's a nudist beach, and they were trying to outlaw and stuff like that. Well, they were literally showing naked people walking on the beach, and we're like, and then they go, I think it was AJ Foyt won. They go, AJ Foyt was the winner of this year's Indianapolis 500. And I went, my dad was just, he doesn't get he never got mad, but he was like, he was so pissed. He just sat there and watched this thing for. I go, well, you got to see nude people on TV. That was kind of cool, right? No, he was mad.
Never what you hope it'll be.
But even with going back to Lost, how many times did ABC show stuff that you'd be like, why are you showing that in the previews?
Right.
You're spoiling us in the previews. Why would you? But anyway.
Well, what about the beginning of every episode of Battlestar Galactica?
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah, we're going to show you the whole episode and then play.
I watched one season on a plane coming from San Diego to back and forth, and I would be like this, and the person next to me, I was watching a little TV, and they go, "What are you doing?" I go, "The stupid show. They show what happens in the whole episode in the." They go, "Really?" I go, "It's a great show, but you have to do this for the first 30 seconds."
Whenever
they had
you
it
heard
caught
that,
on to the Ozark way of doing that.
you know how,
like, they have the 4 symbols that give some prevalence to the story ahead.
Yeah. Well, in the 70s, they used to do that all the time. They would, because I've been rewatching Alias Smith and Jones, and they'll show a clip from the show, and then they go into the start of the show. And a lot of the shows would do that back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, because that was a way to get you hooked in.
Did the original Battlestar Galactica do that?
I don't think so.
No fracking way.
I thought it would have. I thought it would have just solved that mystery, but
no, I don't think it did. I'm trying to remember, but I don't think it did.
No, I think the original told the story.
Right.
It was like it was a very long intro from what I can remember.
Yeah. A ragtag fleet.
Yes.
Trying to survive. I can't do Lauren. It was not Lauren Green. It was it Lauren Green? Anyway, yeah. So that's the difference in television between now and today, because I don't want to know. But back then, you only had ABC, NBC, and CBS.
Yeah, the 3 biggies.
Right. So it's like, okay, do I watch this show or this? There was only so many choices, so you wanted to hook the people. Okay, I'll watch this.
And if you had arthritis, you couldn't change to the other channels anyway.
No, that's why my parents had
knobs.
Well, that's why my parents had kids, so you can go, hey, change the channel. Hey, change the channel. They
control with feet.
And you get over there and change it and go. Are we good? Anyway.
I recall these days.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. In isn't when. We're gonna be probably in for another week. About the one thing is though is if Day senses anyone's coming after her, she'll bring some fun into the house, because she's not gonna go anywhere laying down. She's gonna fight for whatever. She'll fight when she's really not in danger. If she thinks she is, she's not going to just sit quietly and take it. So that'll be fun.
Was it Bailey was talking to Kaysar and she goes, "Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, no." Yeah,
she wasn't very nice. I didn't appreciate it.
He's like going, well, she just was like, no, I guess she knew he was gone. Why talk to him?
Yeah.
I can kind of see it. What if I slipped up and said something?
Right.
But I think I think she could have handled a little better.
Well, and I think that it's like on Survivor, people get really crabby with each other because they're tired and they're hungry and the elements are working against them. And in Big Brother, people lose their temper because they're in close quarters and they're just bored. They're so bored. And they, you hear everybody's noises that they make, and you just stop being so nice.
Who's the one that went in the bathroom and farted? And
say that.
And it was Nicole and Danny, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing. Let's face it. There's nothing funnier than a fart.
Nope.
There's not.
Never not funny.
I watch those videos on YouTube where the guy has the cup with the straws, and you ever seen those? And he goes by and he blows in the straw like he's just. And the people go. My wife just goes, "Why do you laugh at that?" I go, "Because it's funny. Look at their reaction." She goes, "What are you, 2?" I go, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. It's funny. Yep. I can't wait to show my grandkids this and have them laugh.
Like, even if you let one slip by accident someplace that you don't want to, you still laugh at it.
Yeah.
Like, you might be really embarrassed, but you're still gonna laugh.
You have to laugh because it's a fart. But who's the one that went in the bathroom? I didn't see who went in there.
I think it was it one of was it like an Enzo or Cody or somebody?
I don't know. Well, apparently anytime Enzo goes into the bathroom, it's just a terrifying experience for him and he runs out.
Now, why? CBS has a lot of money. I mean, they show 5,000 commercials. Why is there not a fan in the bathroom drowning that out?
Yeah,
I mean,
My husband and I were talking about that tonight. We're like, God, you would think that they would have to have like a mega fart fan in there.
Yeah.
One bathroom with the showers. People, they sit there and talk all the time. So much game happens in front of those mirrors. So
it's like that episode of Seinfeld where George has he goes on. I think it's the dip your chip one where he double dips, and he goes. We're having it, but something was gonna come that I couldn't stop, and he goes, "Why don't you use your bathroom?" It was not that situation. It was too close. It was too, Yep. We all know what he's talking about because when I worked at the Iceplex, we had a bathroom that had no fan, so it's like, oh well, no, I'll just walk down to the other one.
Better hope you can reach the faucet.
Yeah, but I said they should have a fan in there. I mean, it's like, it gave us something to talk about for 2 or 3 minutes, but it just.
Well, it was kind of funny because I think the bidet, I think that might be new because in the first couple of days, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was freaking out because they saw a light and they thought that they had put a camera in the toilet.
Oh.
And so somebody was like really freaking out about having one of the girls, I don't remember who it was, until they realized that that's what it was.
I could see, I know probably people are making fun of them, but I could see that.
Mm-hmm. And they do have, like, up on the ceiling, they do have a camera in there, but it's like, I think it's only ever been used maybe one time when I don't remember who it was, but two players gone into the bathroom and were talking game, and that's about the only time.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want a camera in the bathroom. I don't know if I'd want that.
Yeah, and that was kind of before they really that if you watch the live feeds, there's something that you're going to repeatedly hear is stop that coming from the speakers because there's always someone that gets a stop that, stop singing, and so fix your mic, and you cannot talk about production.
Okay.
And those are the big things that you'll get, but it's kind of
you can't be negative about production.
No, you just can't talk about production.
You can't talk about
what you said in your diary room or anything about when you were in sequester, anything.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll immediately try to get you to stop that. But the mic thing has kind of come into play for some spying because, a lot of times people will cover their mic, or they'll just they're whispering. And so when you hear so-and-so fix your microphone, like everyone kind of, wants to double check to make sure they're just playing on it weird or something.
Right.
A lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I did want to say too, with Danny being upset, she said it was a class for Kaysar, that was classless and tasteless. I said, I go, it's a game. It's a game. And I go, and you are doing it. So
it's a game and he
wasn't doing anything horrible. He wasn't mean, know.
He probably
knew he did call it stupid.
He probably knew he was leaving with a vote of 10-0. So you might as well, get whatever, get your last jabs in.
Yeah, and I've just got to say, this season's rough for me with Danny because I really like her. I have liked her. She's usually pretty fun to watch. The whole shocker that came from her, that was a big thing for her. A lot of the catchphrases that you will see on repeat, like on the commercials when they do the ads before the season starts. So many of these players are the ones that actually started that. I just got a lot to add to the game. But I think it's so funny with somebody who has said the things that she has said since she's been in the house, acted the way that she's been acting, completely backstabbing people that do trust her, even if it is game. It's part of the game. Has the audacity to say that he was being classless. And it's like, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't know where her head is this season. I don't like it.
Obviously, she meant it because she said it at a confessional. She didn't say it to anybody else. I mean,
she was mad. You see her face when they were, playing the HOH.
Yeah, she was telling America that he is, he was. I just thought it was. I thought it was a terrible thing to say. I didn't love it. I didn't see what he did that deserved it. And you had Nicole, who was up. I mean, at the end, the hugs are like,
Yeah. He's not going to the wedding.
I hear your wedding's $3,000 a pop. I don't want to go.
Uninvited. Not going. Well, it's interesting. There's so much. Again, I know I beat to death this whole new school, old school thing, but this is just one more part of it. The same girl's father, who she doesn't really get along with that great. But I mean, if you watched any of the before season 16, a lot of the behavior, the things that were said, the way people acted to further along their game, even her first season, it wouldn't fly. They wouldn't fly today. Not in today's culture. There's no way. So it's funny because I've seen her gameplay and she is not a sweetheart and she says some catty things, I think she was just really mad that she felt like she was outed. And I think it paints a very clear picture that as much as she knew Kaysar was going home, she forgot to keep him on her radar.
Right.
Oh, well, too late now.
Yeah, it's just
it's going to come 3 weeks. It'll come crumbling down when they've got nobody else to target.
I mean, because even Cody said something about the king of the because he's never been on a jury.
Yeah, pre-jury king.
Pre-jury.
Yeah, pre-jury king. I thought that wasn't really necessary.
Nope, just mad.
Yeah, I mean,
they were,
they've been ruling the roost for a couple weeks. Now they're mad that might not be the case. It happened.
But they, when they left, when Cody hugged Kaysar, they exchanged, and it looked like they, whatever they said, it was in light, it was in jest.
Yeah, I think Cody, like I said, I think Cody's a pretty nice guy. I don't think he's going to take anything too seriously from the game.
Yeah. He's from New Jersey.
Y'all are nice, huh?
That's what we reckon.
I don't think that's your rep, though. But anyway, that's New York. I'm sorry, I confused.
Shut up.
Anyway, anything else you guys want to talk about?
No.
All our thoughts and prayers with Christy tonight.
Poor Christy.
Yeah,
she's better.
She might just be sick of the show.
It's because she had to listen to Christmas rhyme her goodbye and she was like, no, I can't. I don't blame her.
I liked it. I just didn't bother me because I said, what is she? In fact, before she got upset, I go, what is she going to say? Because, really, I said before, what is she going to say? There's nothing she can say. I mean, if it's like, oh, I love my house guests and you guys are all great. I respect all of you. If you decide to send me home, I'll still love you. Blah 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 blah. But we're voting for this guy. And
well, I think the hardest part for both Christmas and Kaysar is that there's like he kind of said it. There's no gameplay to even talk about.
Right.
So if I was in that position, I wouldn't even know what I would say to my. He kind of did say it though. If you want to start playing the game, keep me.
Yeah.
Yep.
He realized it.
But at that point, he should. He probably did. But at that point, I think people already had their minds made up. You're not going to get 8 people. He's right.
Yeah, let's play. Hey.
Yeah.
Nobody. Even the players are recognizing it in their conversations. Like Danny and Nicole were talking just last night about how you can't flip votes anymore. Like she's like, you can't. You can go and talk to anybody, but you're never going to get someone to flip their vote anymore.
Right.
It's just
look how they were freaking out about the 2 votes that Danny and Enzo cast last week for Janelle.
Yep.
I was like, who did that? Who did that? It should have been 11-0 or whatever the vote was.
Right.
And I'm like going, who cares?
Yeah, I always think I think that's a product of boredom.
Yeah, it could be.
Because I think the boredom leads to overthinking, which leads to paranoia. Because really, who cares? The person's gone. It doesn't matter. They could have thrown them a sympathy vote. People do that all the time.
Right.
Who cares? It still landed the way you wanted to. need to go question everybody.
Because like on Survivor, when the person gets a vote, who voted for me? Who voted? To me, the last thing you want to do, and I've said this 1,000 times, is let people know it got to you.
Right.
Say, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, just okay. I wouldn't even bring it up.
Nope. And see, Memphis, not a word. He didn't care.
No.
Who cares? The one I wanted to go is gone. We're all on the same page. Great, let's move on. I'm
here another week.
Yeah, so I'll give him lots of crap forever because he's such like the character that's been a manager at every place that you've ever worked that wasn't fun. But he's able to lay low and let everybody else run circles around him. Go for it. If that gets you to the end, sounds like a good plan to me. Yeah, the object is, again, the object's not to entertain, it's to win. Right. Unless I was there. And then the object would be to make sure that nobody who rhymed was allowed to go any further at all. And that's it. That's pretty much it. That's all I'd be good for.
I think if I was there, I'd be the one that they would be making faces at every time I walked into the bathroom.
Why don't we have a fan? Why is there no fan?
My ex-girlfriend used to have to put her earbuds in. It was so.
Well, on that note,
yes,
I think it's a good place to end it. We'll be back next Thursday night, and hopefully we got some action this week. Hopefully we got some.
Yeah.
Because we had less people. We had less people in the chat today. So those people stopped watching. Maybe.
I know. I think a lot of people. I know are once Nicole got out, they're kind of like, I'm not giving it my full attention anymore.
Yeah, I've talked to a few people that just said, no, I can't watch it. Nicole's out, Janelle's gone.
Yeah,
it's like
favorites are going.
Yeah.
I was really pumped about this week, and like I said, I know that CBS doesn't necessarily want to tell the story about the wall yeller because it encourages people to do these crazy shenanigans. Because there was a second wall yeller the next day that security was able to nab, but then it closed outside up again on him. Ian's going crazy.
Why don't they have something, and the minute something happens, it just starts playing loud music or something?
Yeah, something.
I mean, technology's there where someone goes, hey,
well, and it's really funny because you basically just described exactly what it's like when feeds cut. They have a screen that's like painted all like comic booky with stars and stuff, and I mean, you hear the yeller, and she's like, Cody and Nicole are playing everybody. Cut, loud music.
So it's like
they weren't going to let us see it.
So it's like the old days where the TV, you'd have your last show, then you'd have the national anthem, and then you'd have the test screen.
Yep.
The snuff, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And it would be like, we'll be back at 6 a.m. And like,
yep.
What am I
pretty much exactly like that. It's kind of a bummer. I mean, I like I said, I don't know. I understand it. I understand from production's point of view, they don't want to encourage this behavior. But the reality is telling us that story would have been so much more interesting this week.
Yeah.
You know, it's what happens when you have this group of people and they're not supposed to have any contact with the outside world and something happens and they do. How does this change the dynamic of the game?
Right.
Like I said, Ian was kind of sniffing it out already, but we would have not ever got that storyline from Ian if this hadn't happened.
It's like production wants to shut out the outside world, but then again, most of this game this season was developed in the outside world.
It's such a weird, just like everything else this year, there's just so many weird dynamics that are happening that it's like you always get to this crest where it's like, okay, this could be awesome, and then there's like a letdown, and it's not quite where they could have brought it. And I know their staff is in half. They don't get to be outside nearly as much as they used to, and that was a really fun place to watch gameplay go down because you'd have the hammock people, you'd have the couch people. You know, in the old seasons when you still had smokers, you know, they'd be sitting out on that couch. And then it was great because when they would lock up the backyard for 2 days to put together a set, the smokers were going nuts. But them going nuts created a tension that needed to be there to keep that game rolling.
Right.
Same thing when people would win, their HOH basket, they'd get booze. They would bring booze into the crew, once a week just to get the conversations rolling. But we don't get that anymore. Now you get somebody who gets like 2 beers and then they stash them, and like Memphis had the wine, and that led to Nicole's downfall. Honestly, because Janelle sat up there with Memphis and that wine and them drinking.
Yeah.
And Nicole took it a way that it wasn't going. It looked
Right.
like it looked different to her than what was actually happening. But look at something so simple as introducing a little bit of booze.
Yeah.
Created an entirely different stretch of scenarios.
I have a suggestion for season 23, because you guys kept saying it this year, 2020. You take the 20 best Karens, male and female, and you put them in the Big Brother house.
Oh man,
That would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, we get that call like, hey, so we're doing a new season. We want you to return. It's the year of the Karens. Like, what?
Come to auditions with your mask below your nose.
Yeah. But there's so many Karens out there that we've seen.
Yes,
Every day there's a new Karen. Rachel said, "Oh my God, the house would implode." I just think it would be fun. I think you have 20 people who just are miserable people, and at the end they end up voting each other, and nobody gets the money because someone slaps somebody or punches them.
There's so many managers at that point that had to get involved.
That would be amazing. That would be truly amazing.
Just getting escorted out of the house at that point.
Who wouldn't watch it?
I would.
I'd watch it because it's a train wreck, and it just. I mean, I can't stop. You can't. It's like, oh, there's another Karen video, and you sit there and shake your head, and go, God, what are you people doing?
It might be another reason why this season. Okay, I'll tell you. Like, you have good seasons, you have okay seasons. We've had a long stretch of okay-ish seasons. This one's fallen down the way it is too, because at first I was really excited about the fact that there was not going to be any showmances. Yes. I was like, God, I hate the showmances. You get the power couple. It's the same thing every time. So I was really glad to not have that. But on the flip side of that, the jealous girl thing, the like alpha male, like that whole, I guess it does bring something to the table, even though I don't want to admit it. It does.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, I never understand why the power couple, like last year, it was Mickey and what was her name? They were together, and I go, why are they not? Is it Jessica?
No, it was Mickey and oh my God, not.
I see her face.
Can you see how much I didn't really love last season? I you know what? I always loved the underdogs. Go to any season, I'll tell you who I loved, and
Holly.
it was always the people that had to.
Buffy and Rachel said Holly. I never understand why they don't vote them out, because now Survivor, at least they've gotten smart, and they vote them out. It's like you can't even slip and say, "Oh, I kind of have a crush on this person." You're gone.
Yep. And I love that. I mean, I love that they immediately figure out. I mean, you can't even so much as have one long conversation with somebody without them going, "Nope, we got to break that up right now."
Yep.
And I wish that we had some of that going on here, because God, I hate showmances. I've never been a fan of them, because I feel like it's this really weird. It creates a weird dynamic in these games. There's very few showmances through all of the seasons of things like Big Brother and Survivor that I actually could get behind. Like Amber and Rob. That was a good one. Rachel and Brendan, though at the time Rachel drove me crazy. They were an amazing team to watch play together. And then you see them, when they've gone on other shows and play. They're like a successful train wreck all the time. It's so great because she's flipping out, but at the end they nail it. So I miss some of that, but the last couple
Brendan!
yeah, the last few haven't been been that great.
I don't even like the showmances on The Bachelorette and Bachelor. I don't even like that.
Yeah, see, I don't buy into those shows.
Yeah,
I don't watch that. I don't get it, but
maybe we could have a season where we had all of America's favorite players. America's favorite players are always either really awesome at playing the game like Cutthroat, or they're just like sweethearts and everybody loves them. So it would be kind of interesting to see there, and very few Cutthroat players are America's favorite. Just once in a while it's happened. The majority of fan favorites are just sweethearts. To watch them have to go after each other might be kind of fun. To change it up.
They should have like a small season where they just do a house full of the Hans family.
Yeah, let's do that instead of celebrity.
No, I've seen enough of Brandon Hance. I don't need to see any more Brandon Hance. I just no.
Yeah, that's an interesting. It's an interesting group.
I mean, I saw like his final. He was on there 10 minutes screaming and yelling, and it probably was longer than that. I go, why are we doing this? Because I don't need it.
That was the first time Jeff had to step in and separate the group. Yeah, Brandon, come stand over here with me.
Yeah.
Man.
But yeah, I had no problem with Russell Hance, but I guess what is it? Brother almost got in a fight with somebody or something.
On Big Brother.
Yeah.
It was his.
Yeah, he went after Joe, I think. Yeah, Eagle Eye Joe.
Yeah.
You sent me the link, JP.
I don't remember who it was, which family member it was, but yeah, it was immediately when he was put up for nomination. He just imploded. He didn't want to be on the block, obviously.
Yeah, and he was immediately brought out of the house.
They pulled him from the game right away.
Like they don't even let it get close. Like you can't even. I mean, they don't even give you metal knives. Like they have plastic knives. If you watch their they don't have much for silver in that house. Yeah, they don't tolerate any actual physical aggression. Microaggressions all day long, apparently, but no real physical contact.
It was live in the show up.
It was before I started watching it, but didn't somebody put somebody's toothbrush in the toilet?
Yeah.
I want to say
was it Jerry Seinfeld?
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think that's one of the things. I mean, Evil Dick, he poured a whole pitcher of iced tea over somebody's head. These are the things that they used to, you know what I mean? But he didn't get kicked out, obviously.
In the shower or just in the?
No, she was sitting there, and they were like enemies, and they were just the two of them would go at it and not very nice to each other, and he just walked over and dumped it on top of her head. I mean, a couple of years ago, didn't you have Mark and Josh and the pickle juice or something? You know?
Oh yeah.
These things happen.
3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, because a fun joke you can do if you want to play on your spouse or friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, you get like a big pail of like a big pan or something like that, and you put ice in it, cold water in it, make it. And when they're taking a shower, flip it over the top.
Yep, that's a fun one.
It's a lot of fun. I did that to a hockey guy years ago. Where we dumped the snow, and that thing is like freezing. It's because it's just snow is sitting there all day. So I got a big 5-gallon bucket, scooped it up. They're taking a shower. I turned off the lights. I just went and threw it in there. He almost died.
You have to be careful with that, though.
It's like, okay, we got to pick up another.
It's going to come back for you. Did he ever retaliate?
No, I don't think he ever knew who it was.
That's my number one reason for not doing a practical joke, as I think to myself, will this person retaliate? Because I don't want it. I don't want it coming back to me.
I like to roll the dice, but I don't do it anymore because I'm older and I don't want someone. I would probably die if something that happened to me, but
Well, you got to be careful. That's the thing. It could always end in death or beheading, which is death.
Yeah.
You got to play out the scenarios. All the different ways this could go. To any of them lead to death? Don't do it.
Or do I like the person? Could it go to no? Anyway.
As long as you can get away with it, that's all that matters.
Could it look like somebody else did it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I turned off the light so nobody.
See, you were thinking ahead there, I guess. I'll give you credit there.
I'm pretty good at thinking ahead like that. So we staged
JP called Google to get rid of his light.
we staged a burglary one time too. This guy, he was just a pain in the ass. He'd come in the morning and write down things that weren't done right. He was just like, all right. He was just one of those people. Coworker he didn't like. So we were playing hockey one night. We were talking about all these practical jokes we used to do. Someone said, let's stage a burglary. So we left the door open.
That's a great idea.
He didn't have access to where the safe was in the office. He only had access to get the rink going in the morning. So we had this guy put a ski mask, nylons over his face with a flashlight. We go, here, he's coming. And we think he shit his pants. Now, looking back on it, we even told, because we had security in the mall, we told security, hey, it's his birthday. We're playing a practical joke on him. So if you hear some screaming, it's just
it's cool. No worries.
We took all the work phones. We took all the cords off so he couldn't call anybody. So it was well thought out. And like I said, he didn't talk to us for a long time. But I thought it was funny.
That's pretty funny.
But looking back on it, it was probably the wrong thing to do, but
maybe I don't know. You had
35 years later, it was
like, back you on it. I say it's all right.
Yeah,
they didn't make you stop.
Yeah. Anyway, we could go all day long with practical jokes.
Tune in next week.
Yeah. Anyway, we're out.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yep. Anything else you guys want to say?
I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to picture you with a nylon mask on.
I didn't have the mask.
Oh, you didn't do it? Okay.
I was in the sound room with two other people holding my mouth like this because I was laughing so hard because his comments were like he was scared to death.
I'm just picturing it must have been somebody's wife or whatever who got up that morning and couldn't find her stockings.
No, we sold them. It was figure skating. It was figure skating stockings. We had everything we needed there. So it's like, Anyway. We were young.
Next week, folks.
I wouldn't do that today. So anyway, we'll be back next week at 9:30 for another episode of Big Brother. Oh, and thanks for everyone joining us in the chat.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.